This is Canada Reads American Style, featuring two friends who love Canada Reads and Canadian literature. Welcome our host Rebecca from Michigan and Tara from Ontario.
Hello and welcome to Canada Reads American Style. This is Tara. I'm here with Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello. Glad to be back.
Me too, because we are back for our, I'm going to call it our monthly book chat, but it's been a while. So this is our November book chat, and we are super excited to be back.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to Tara for holding down the fort for the last couple of months. My mom has been ill, and I've been pretty non-existent with regard to the podcast, but Tara has done some super fantastic interviews with some great authors. So if you haven't been sort of following what we've been doing, because we kind of took a little break here, or I did anyway, go back and listen to the interviews Tara did, because I edited them and just thought, oh, I wish I could have been, an active listener at the time. And they were fantastic. So thank you, Tara, for doing such an awesome job while I was away.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure, but you are back, and
Yes.
you have already squeezed in a couple of interviews that are going to be showing up shortly too. So
Yeah, in fact, I will admit a whole bunch of stuff is going to come out all at once, because I'm that kind of person. Once I get something done and edited, I'm ready to push it out into the world, because again, you did a super interview. Well, I did as well, but you did one for a book. So this is a teaser that you did for a book that I cannot wait to read.
mm-hmm.
And you had a fabulous interview, and they're all fabulous, but that one really hit me right in the feels.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Teaser.
Cool. So can I just start out by saying I have really good, great, amazing, happy news?
Of course, because I do not know this news and I am waiting.
Oh.
She teased me about this news before we started. Go for it.
So I'm in my house on the second floor, and I oversee my office space, oversees this big, beautiful tree in my front yard. And long story short, I'm going to be a crow mama. I actually fed crows this morning. I saw them out on the tree, which is rare. I've been trying for 5 years to attract a crow, and I saw a huge crow land in the tree. So of course I ran downstairs, and I have peanuts by my front door for the squirrels and the other birds. And so I know you're supposed to throw them up in the air to attract crows, right? So I threw a whole bunch of them up in the air, and of course the crow flew away, and I was like, oh, well, at least he saw it maybe. Well, then the blue jays started dive bombing, and I was watching straight up with the peanut in their mouth. And then 3 crows came and were on my front yard eating them. So I am so excited. I've always wanted a crow gift, like a sparkly crow gift. And I know someday I will get one and I will report back. But I have wanted this for 5 years. And I think the universe is gifting me this morning.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Crows are amazing birds.
They're so beautiful.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. I love them.
Yeah.
So that is
Anyway.
amazing. Amazing.
Yay.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we just jump?
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to know what the heck have you been up to? Because you and I have hardly even talked to each other for the last few months.
I know. What do we want? Bookish, non-bookish?
Non-bookish. Anything cool, fun? You do a lot of cool stuff.
All that is on my mind at this very moment are the Toronto Blue Jays, our baseball team, because I used to watch baseball, and I haven't watched baseball in years, and then I jumped on the bandwagon big time at the end of September, beginning of October, and my life has been consumed with baseball for the past month. Unfortunately, they lost the World Series last night in Game 7, extra innings. It was a heartbreaker, but they are such a special team. And I'm not the only, everyone is saying it. What a flipping amazing team. They're like a beautiful group of people that they have this, you can tell, like the first time I saw them play. So my husband is a Yankees fan. I'm outing him. So we I started watching in the playoffs when they reached the playoffs, and their first series was against the Yankees. And there is something special about them. You can just see right away that they truly love playing with each other and playing the game. And it was awesome to watch.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I think
Mm.
it's great. I mean, it sounds like it was a wildly
Oh,
exciting series, and
yeah.
that and as a fan, that's even if your team loses, it's still a great thing that
Yeah.
they presented that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I'm biased, but I will say they played better than the Dodgers. They outperformed the Dodgers. Dodgers got lucky. I'm sorry if there's Dodgers fans out there that I'm totally pissing off right now. But yeah. But anyways, but in the end, Dodgers won. So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the sign that Tara just sent me, but that was cute.
Anyway, so that's the only non-bookish news. That's the only thing that's on my mind at the moment. Yeah.
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 Okay.
But bookish wise, I've gone to like several book events, like in nearby Hamilton, put on by the Gritlit Festival, which is the group that they from Hamilton that they put on the literary festival that happens in April, I believe. So they also
Hmm.
have started doing a lot of author events outside of the that weekend in spring. So I saw Sherry Lapina.
Oh,
I know, which was really fun. I saw
yeah.
R.F. Kwong. She was there for her
Oh,
new book, Catabasis, which was she was um, really lovely and entertaining. I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised at how great she was in person.
hmm.
I feel like I saw something else. We're getting ready. Next week, I will be seeing Joe Hill with Linwood Barkley. So Joe Hill is Stephen King's
Ooh.
son. He writes horrors.
Oh,
Yeah, his
oh,
new book is out, and he's going to be interviewed by Linwood Barkley in Hamilton. So I'm
wow.
looking forward to that too. That should be a really good one.
Wow, that is really
Yeah,
amazing. Oh, that's cool. Sounds
yeah. So
good.
kudos to the people of Gritlit. They're like nailing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. That's it. That's all I got
Well,
after your
that's pretty
crow
darn
news.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty darn good, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. Shall we jump into our books?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Uh, we'll start with our currently reading. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to bring three books my currently reading. I got a nonfiction, a fiction, and short story collection that I've got going on. So the nonfiction that I have is the new book by Mary Roach, the science writer, and it is called Replaceable You: Adventures in Human Anatomy. So I just started this one a few days ago, and in
Hmm.
typical Mary Roach style, it's very informative, very entertaining, and a little graphic at times because it is talking about the history of replacing human parts in the medical world. So it sounds really weird, but she's so fan. I don't know if you've read anything by
Mm-mm.
her.
Mm-mm.
She's very good. If you like science, but she makes it's very approachable and funny. Like the first chapter that's sticking out in my head is noses. How people throughout history, I didn't realize that people lost their noses as often as they have,
Wow.
and the different prosthetics that have been used
Oh.
throughout for centuries to replace the human nose. And there's a chapter about skin grafting, which was also super interesting, but also gross. I gotta say,
Mm-hmm.
it's gross.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I finished the most recent chapter about organ harvesting and making like organ transplants, finding an alternative to human organs for
Ooh.
transplants and stuff. Yeah, it's super interesting. So that is
Yeah.
my current nonfiction.
Okay.
My fiction is The Whistler by Nick Medina. So it is his third and his newest book. And I'm about halfway through, and it might be my favorite of his three books so far. It is
Ooh.
horror, and it
Mm-hmm.
is based on the indigenous belief that if you whistle at night,
Yeah.
you draw evil spirits to you. And it is, I gotta say, it is a little creepy right from the prologue. Right from the prologue, I'm like, I'm in, and I am creeped out. And even last night in bed, I was reading it, and I said to my husband, I'm like, I said, I find it really interesting phonetically how he shows whistling, right? How he
Oh.
has it spelled out. I'm like, it doesn't quite fit in my head with what I expect whistling to be. And Mike then went to whistle. I'm like, oh no, you don't. I'm like, no. Like, you cannot whistle. I'm like, never mind. I will show it to you tomorrow, and then we'll discuss it. So then this morning when I got up, I'm like, okay, I'm going to show you this now. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the whistling. We're going to look at the whistling and we're going to discuss how whistling sounds and if this makes sense. It does. I got it. But yes, so the story, just a quick recap. It starts in the 70s. So your prologue is the 70s, in which we are introduced to the Whistler. And then we jump ahead to 2023 and 2025. So you flip back and forth between these two timelines throughout the majority of the book. And our main characters actually are Henry and his girlfriend Jade, and Henry's best friend Toad, and they are ghost hunters. And
Oh.
something happens in 2023 when they investigate the ghost story that we learn about in the prologue, that then leads to Henry in the present being a quadriplegic.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, and it is.
Oh.
So the ghost story is really good, but also the how he's writing Henry's experience as a quadriplegic and coming to terms with that. It's only been a year since, I think, at this point, so maybe it's 2024 that this the timing. How he's coming to terms psychologically and physically with this new reality for him is very well written, and you're like, he has a like a little forward at the beginning, basically like, these are what's going to be tackled in this book. So warnings for, like, trigger warnings, I guess, for body horror and stuff, but also for ableism. And
Mhm.
he shows Henry's experience of being treated differently because he's now quadriplegic, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think
That's
he did a
interesting.
lot of, yeah, I think he did a lot of research, a lot of talking to people in order to
Mhm.
get it the way to
Yeah.
write the story that he is. But
Wow. That sounds
highly recommend.
incredible.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. And finally, my short story collection is As the Earth Dreams, Black Canadian Speculative Stories, edited by Terese Mason Pierre, which is a new story collection that just came out this fall. She's Canadian. She's a Canadian author, poet, and obviously editor. I've only read two stories in this collection so far, and I really, really enjoyed them. I like reading story collections that are anthologies, because I like being introduced to new authors that I might not find otherwise. So that's one I'm getting out of this. And I will just read the quote from, like, the description of it, because it sets it up really well. This collection explores natural and urban landscapes, living and dead relationships, economic catastrophe, love and desire, all while celebrating the persistent and ever changing self and envisioning beautiful Black futures.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah,
Sounds really good.
yeah. So it's like I said, two stories in, and I am thoroughly enjoying this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, you're
Okay.
starting us off really, really on a strong note.
Yeah, I am.
Uh,
Up to you now.
well,
Let's go.
yeah. So I'm about halfway through my life growing up Native American, and it's edited by IllumiNative, which is a nonprofit, I believe, that amplifies Native American voices. And it did I already say it's essays and poems? I'm not
No,
even sure now
no.
if I said that. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
essays and poems, and it's got like a lot of notable uh, Native authors in it. The one who wrote, um, oh my gosh, you know the one that was the YA. Oh, Angeline Boulay,
Oh,
you know the
yes,
one that
yeah.
wrote the
Firekeeper? Yeah.
Firekeeper's Daughter, yeah. And Tommy Orange has a quote in here, etc.
Mhm.
So it's actually really good. And this is the book I bought last year when I was on my road trip heading down to Kansas. I stopped in Indianapolis, and this was at a bookstore. Um, and I can't remember the name of the bookstore, but it's an independent bookstore, and so which amplifies BIPOC authors,
Yeah.
and so that was a really good choice. I'm glad I made it. I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying that book,
Good.
and then I'm also one of my goals this year was to finally read the Chronicles of Narnia. So I am reading it chronologically because I did do a
Mhm.
little research and decided that is what C.S. Lewis basically said. So I decided to go ahead and read it chronologically, which is what he recommended. And so I read The Magician's Nephew, which I loved. Oh my gosh, I really love that book. And then The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is second. So I reread it for the third time so that I could have this seamless process of reading all of them in a row. And now I'm working on The Horse and His Boy.
Oh.
And what I didn't know is how different they really all are. For at least the first three are just completely different. And I assume it continues that way through the series. So my goal, I'm hoping I can pull it off to get the entire series done this year.
Mhm.
And that's my goal.
Awesome.
And I think now I should, I feel, I'm not going to say confident, but I feel good that I can get that done this year.
Yeah. And so how many books do you have left? Like how many are in the whole series?
It's 7.
Okay.
So I'm only
Okay.
on book 3.
Yeah.
And they don't take that long, but I've got so many other things I want to read. So that's why
Mhm.
but I'm going to push really hard to get that done this year.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Shall we move into our like I guess our most notable reads of the last couple
Yes.
months?
Yep.
Okay. I will start by saying I've had like a fantastic reading year, a reading autumn. Like it was difficult for me to kind of scrunch these in down to like this amount. So I'm going to start with the newest book by David Bergen, and it is Days of Feasting and Rejoicing. It's a small book and it is a character study, but I'm going to say it is a very propulsive character study, which to me almost seems like an oxymoron. I don't expect character studies be something that I want to really sit down and just read nonstop, but this one totally was.
Mhm.
So it is about Esther, who is an expat American living in Thailand, sharing a house with Christine, who is Canadian. I think they work together. I can't remember what their occupation is, but Christine is the more popular of the two. Esther is always on the margins, regardless of how much she tries to insert herself into Christine's circle by just physically inserting herself with Christine's friends or even trying to dress like Christine, behave like Christine, she cannot um, succeed at being Christine
Mhm.
until while the two of them are on a holiday and Christine drowns. I'm not going to give the story behind that, but yes, Christine drowns, and Esther is then able to take on Christine's identity. So, what
Oh.
follows is this psychological drama as as Christine's death is investigated, but more so as we watch what Esther, the lengths that she will go to maintain this new identity of hers. And also, we are a witness to the darkness that is within Esther and also some of the side characters, secondary characters that we meet along the way. It is so good. It's so good.
Man,
Yeah.
I had no idea that's what that was about.
Yeah. I think you
Because I
would
do
really.
have yeah, I have it as an arc, and
Hmm.
so oh man, now I'm gonna have to add it.
You will. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's very
Yeah.
good.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my first book, and I'm actually because it's been so long ago that, and I because obviously I've been so busy, I haven't been able to really read a lot. But I want to mention, and I'm going to probably take it from my reviews because I don't have the books in front of me, and I'm going to not remember everything in detail.
Hmm.
But I read, and this was one of those, what do we call them? Like it was sort of oh, I know I had one of my goals was to just anything I read that wasn't, like, on my TBR. I can't remember now what I was calling it. Do you remember what I said it was? Like, a
No.
book that I just randomly decided to read. I
Oh,
can't
like
remember what my
mood reading or something
oh,
like
that's
that.
what it was,
Yeah.
mood read. So,
Yeah.
somehow I came across this book and went, "Oh, I just wanna read it," and I got it from the library, and it's called The Road to Heaven, and it is a Patrick Bird mystery. It's number 1 by Alexis Stefanovich-Thomson. And I loved this book because the main character, who is Patrick Bird, obviously. He is a young private investigator who just taps out of the police academy. And you don't really know, they just mention that he did, but you don't know exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And all his job is to set traps to catch cheating spouses. That's his boring job. He's a, he's a PI, but it's a pretty dull thing. And and I should say it's set in 1960s Toronto, which is really
Mm.
fun because it's very Toronto centered. So like he mentions street names and businesses and things like that, and it's very, very cool, and I love that part about it. And the book covers a 48-hour time period. And what happens is his boss hands him a missing persons case that will just challenge Bird to the nth degree because he is not prepared for what's happening with this missing persons case. And again, what I loved is Toronto in the 60s, and it just goes back and forth and twists and turns. And of course, I did not figure out who the killer was. I
Mm-hmm.
never do. Oh my God, I never do. But the thing that I loved about it, and the reason why I really believe I'm going to read book 2 and beyond, is Patrick Bird is a very flawed character. He's only about, I think, 25 years old. And so he even knows he's not well equipped to do this job. And he makes mistakes. He makes a very critical mistake in the story that has ramifications. And so I just want to see how the author, which I assume he will help Patrick evolve and mature and grow as a PI over the course of this career of however many books coming out in the series. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually really enjoyed it. And I don't remember how I found it. Somebody mentioned it somewhere. I grabbed it and I really enjoyed it.
So is this a new book, or are the other any other books out in the series yet?
No, in fact, it's a new book, and I think it just came out within the last couple of years. And it was so funny because the author responded to my review, and he said, "Thanks for the shout out. I'm glad you enjoyed The Road to Heaven. And since you're looking to see what happens next for our artless detective, I can let you know that the second book in the Patrick Bird mystery series, Opposite Sully's Gym, is coming out in March of 26."
Excellent.
Ta-da! So I will be reading that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Uh, I was surprised when you said that he was only 25 years old, that he was so young. I don't know why I expected it that it would be an older protagonist.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly, and especially too, I love how it starts out and he's trying to catch a cheating husband or his cheating spouse, whichever man or woman, I don't remember. And you don't at first realize he's young. And then when you start to when it hits you that, oh my God, this guy is just starting out in his career, it made me love it even more because
Mhm.
it went against the grain of what I expected.
Mhm.
I expected like this hard-boiled old detective that had seen the world, and no, it's a young guy who's getting sick and tired of just catching cheaters.
Very cool. I may have to look into that one too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it. I really
Yeah.
liked it.
Awesome. Okay, my next book. It potentially could be another Rebecca book. Warning.
Ooh,
Yes, but
okay.
I'm also not quite sure.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so it is the new book by Thomas Wharton, and it is called Wolf, Moon, Dog. So it
Hmm.
is a fable with elements of magic realism that tells the many lives of a dog named Wolf. I
I
know.
think it has to be a book
I
for
think it
me.
has to. It's just that
Yeah,
there's a couple of sad parts, like
that's
because
okay.
it's yeah. So
I think
it's
I can
told
handle it.
in three parts. I love how it was written. It wasn't just straight on prose. Like he really mixed the different ways of telling this story of different not narratives, but styles. There's the word. Styles of writing. So first, it's told in three parts. Part one is when we meet Wolf and learn how he met a human boy after being banished by his pack. So we go
Ooh.
way back and we meet the original Wolf. Then in part two is when we get stories of the reincarnations of Wolf as dogs at different points in human history and how dogs' stories and roles are interweaved with human history.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where he got really experimental in how he told these different stories. I'm going to give you just two examples. So one, we meet in one story the ancient Greek philosopher Diogenes, who believed humans should live more like dogs, and who then himself lived more like a dog, which was Dude's kind of weird. Dude's kind of weird, but but also super interesting. And then another one that I wanted to highlight was the story of Sled Dogs, which was told in the style of a Robert Service poem. So
Oh.
yes, so that's just, and then there's also the story of the first dog that was an astronaut, like with the cosmonauts. It's beautiful. There are sad parts because a
Mhm.
dog's life is not always easy. It can
Yeah.
often be full of cruelty, but then there's also like joyous parts because
Mhm.
they're dogs. They're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then part three is when we return to Wolf at a time when the world has fallen apart due to climate change. And that's how I'm going to leave it because then you get to see the role that Wolf plays at that point.
Okay,
And
I hope that Wolf eats all the humans and all the dogs and wolves, thrive. And then the earth rebalances. That's what I wanna hear.
you are partially correct.
Okay, don't tell me which part.
No, no. But
That's
anyways,
too funny.
I highly recommend. I really enjoyed this book. I wasn't sure what to expect from it,
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
sounds really good.
Yeah.
My next book, this was a wild freaking ride, and it was an arc that I had gotten through Hallé at River Street Writes, and it's called and it's really funny too because when I first saw it listed as an option, the cover was just sort of over the top and the title was a little weird, but I have to tell you what a wild, fun ride this book was. It's called Mad Dog and the Sea Dragon, and it's by Lisa D. Nikolits. And so I'm going to read my review because again, this was there were so many parts to this story that were just so wild. I don't want to get anything wrong. So there's hard-edged Glennis convinces her beautiful younger sister Jessica to make a play for gangster Vincenzo Esposito, or Enzo, as Jessica comes to know him, and become his latest side piece and work him long enough to stash away money for their future. So Glennis is really priming the pump here, wanting to make some money and scoot with her sister. But Enzo has rules for Jessica to follow as his side piece. So here are some of the rules. She must answer her new phone every single time he calls. He will supply all of her financial needs. She must never talk about his wife. She must never step out on him. She must tell him where she is 24/7. She must never steal from him. She has to look like $1,000,000 and smell like a peach. She must never ask about the family business. And finally, she is only out when he says she is out. Now, Glennis and Jessica are going to try and double cross the mob, basically, and get away with it. So the question is, are they able to pull it off? And I've written here, it's a lively, darkly comic, nostalgic 1950s noir crime thriller set in the present day that will keep you on your toes. You don't know who's conning who. You don't know how the hell this is going to all play out, but it was so freaking entertaining that if you're looking for just a fun read that will just keep moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
this is a great title to read. And like I said, the I'll show you what the cover looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yep.
like a very 1950s noir kind of looking, femme fatale on the
Yep.
cover with a
Little
guy in a
Jessica
trench
Rabbit.
coat. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect description. And like I said, it was I don't even know why because I wasn't that it didn't appeal to me at first, but then I must have read a review or something and then thought, I'll give it a try. And I'm so glad I did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was intrigued by that one too when Hallé sent out the list. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next book is another Hallé of River Street Writes recommendation, and it is The Pugilist and the Sailor by Nadia Ragbar, and I believe this is her first book, her debut book.
Hmm.
And so I am based on this book. I cannot wait to read what she has up her sleeve next. So the book is the story of two conjoined twins, Doug and Bruce. And Doug and Bruce, as conjoined twins, are boxers. They are adults who they're in Toronto, and they're in like this amateur amateur? No, I guess professional. It would be a I know nothing about boxing.
Mm,
Professional league in Ontario, boxing as one person, right? So they would box another person. Um, so that's very interesting. I
Wait a
find,
minute.
yeah,
So both of them can punch at the
yes.
same.
So they have, so conjoined twins, they're joined at the torso. So
Oh, okay.
they have just the two legs and two arms
Oh,
and
okay,
then
got it.
two heads. Yeah. So they
Okay,
basically
got it.
share the one body and two separate people otherwise.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
and I've been fascinated by conjoined twins since I was like a kid because that was, the Ripley's Believe It or Not and anything. But this goes, it takes the conjoined twins and makes them people, which is how conjoined twins were not, and potentially I don't think really are treated in media. So
Yeah.
you have two fully fleshed out people who just happen to be conjoined twins. I loved them. Bruce. So the pugilist and the sailor, the pugilist, the boxer. Obviously, you were like, well, they box, but the
Hmm.
boxer truly is Dougie, because he's the one who wants to box. Bruce does not want to box, but he
Oh,
does it for Dougie because Dougie
yeah.
wants it so much. Bruce truly just wants to sail around the world,
Oh.
which is something Dougie does not want. Dougie's perfectly happy where he is in Toronto, being a security
Oh.
guard in the parking lot of a grocery store and then boxing in the evenings. Like that's Dougie's perfectly happy. Bruce wants more. Bruce is lovely because so this whole book through these twins explores loneliness and identity because Bruce, despite never being physically alone, has this deep sense of loneliness in him.
Oh.
It's so beautiful what she's done with this book.
Yeah.
It's truly beautiful. He struggles throughout the book to find his own identity apart from Dougie because they've always been together, right? They've always done the same thing.
Yeah.
There is a love story in this as well because we don't get just Dougie and Bruce's point of view. We get also there are secondary characters, so we get their point of view in chapters. I love the secondary characters. I loved Dougie and Bruce's parents who raised these two beautiful men. I love the love story and the ending. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic book. So highly suggest picking it up too. Again, it's
And
very
now, is
good.
it set in modern day Toronto?
Yes.
Okay.
So it even goes into like the logistics of how they get their clothing, how
Hmm.
they, like that's what I've
Oh,
always wondered about conjoined twins. Like how do you both dress? How do you sleep together? How do you use the washroom? Like
yeah,
it's you
exactly.
get all those little details, but that's just because you're seeing Dougie and Bruce's daily life. But you get Doug and Bruce, and it's a beautiful story.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think we have, I, I tell you, this is a really, really strong podcast, I think, with titles. We have
Yeah,
some really excellent titles
yeah.
that we're talking about. So, my next one, and it's funny too, this was our friend Sandra. I think Sandra is the one that read this that prompted me to want to read it. And it's called Foster by Claire Keegan. It's been out a long time, I think 2010 maybe. Have you read it before?
No, but it's on my list as well.
Yeah. And what I didn't know anything about Claire Keegan, but boy, let me tell you something. If you barely go looking, you'll find everyone's read her, everyone loves her. They talk on about how creative and quiet and descriptive her writing is, and it is absolutely beautiful. So this was apparently the story Foster was, I think, a short story in the New Yorker, I think maybe, and then it was published as a novella. And I think somebody said it was a movie, maybe. I can't remember now if it was a movie. But anyway, it's basically it's a very simple story, but a young girl is sent to live with relatives in rural Ireland, and she's dropped off by her father, and she has no idea when or if her father will return to get her. And the reason he dropped her off is because mom is pregnant with baby number whatever, up there, high number, and they just need, I guess, one less mouth to feed or something. They just decide to drop her off. and she ends up living with her, it's like an aunt and an uncle, and they're childless. And just written here, it's melancholic, poignant, and yet there is a sliver of hope and beauty in this brief slice of life that Keegan masterfully portrays. And I have to say that there were times when I was reading it where I just felt like I was in that place in the actual setting. The language was so, it's kind of weird because it was spare but descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was going down to the well to get the water. I felt like I was at the community event, and seeing all the people. Everything about it just felt very like you're just in the middle of it all. And I don't know how she does it with so few words, but I definitely want to read more Keegan because she is an amazing. And then now I get it. Award winning, blah blah blah. Everyone's read her except me, and so
And me.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I say I'm definitely going to read more of her work. She's incredible, and again, she's an Irish author and award winning. And like I said, most people listening to this may already say, "Oh, of course
Mm-hmm.
I've read her," but
Yeah,
I'm late to the party.
me too. I got to get into that party as well.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
loved it.
I think the main, because there's another one that she's written, and I can't remember the title of it, that's supposed to be like a quintessential story, a Christmas story. And
Oh,
I
okay.
keep meaning to the last couple of years. My problem, I think what stopped me from reading her is that I want to own the book because I think it's going to be
Mhm,
so beautiful that I'm going to want to
mhm.
own it and reread it. Especially, I like rereading books at Christmas time.
Yeah,
But the books are small and they're all still just in hardcover because why wouldn't they? And they charge like $30. I haven't seen them in paperback. I've only seen the hardcover,
yeah,
and they're small and $30. And then I always go, I cringe at the price, and then I don't follow through and purchase it. And I haven't done the library thing. I think I just got to go and
yeah. And I think it was Louise Ells. I think that was what our author that we've talked
yes,
to in the
it
past.
was Louise.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
did. And if you let me just pull this up here really quick because she actually did a post with the this was the painting that she said, or the poster. It was this poster. See, it's got like a water
yes,
bucket. Now the cover I read was different. It was a hardcover, but that might be the Irish version. I'm not sure, or
hmm
edition. I had probably the American edition. But I had read her review, and I feel like Sandra also recommended it, maybe not, but maybe it was just Louise's, review that really pushed me to read it at this time,
yeah.
so, anyway,
I'm just
amazing.
gonna suck it up and do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
that
think
I'm
because
now the only one.
because it's yeah, it's short and but again, it's so simple and quiet, but it's just really so beautiful,
Yeah.
so,
Okay, sorry, but I'm bringing another Rebecca book. I will
okay.
not I will not go into depth on this one because I just did an interview with the author, which I think we've already released, right? So it is the new book by David Giuliano, The Upending of Wendall Forbes. So Rebecca and I talked to him a few years ago about his previous book, The Undertaking of Billy Buffone, which we both love. So you can check out that episode from maybe 2021. I think, I'm not quite sure. And so this is his latest book, which was just published. I spoke to David. I loved this book. If I know I just mentioned Christmas books. If you're looking for a seasonal read, this would be a beautiful one coming
Mm,
up in December. So the upending of Wendall Forbes is about Ruby and Wendall, who are an elderly couple. It's Christmas time. They live in a small town in northern Ontario, and their adult son and his family have just moved to Japan. And Ruby is so upset because it's going to be Christmas with just the two of them. And they are also dealing with potential dementia in their relationship and how they're going to come to terms with it, how they're going to come to terms with telling their partner that they suspect that there's dementia. So with
mhm,
all of this going on, a snowstorm hits, and into their lives magically come this group of people that Ruby and Wendell open up their homes and invite this group of people to stay at their home during a snowstorm in which there's no power, and they create this community in this home during a snowstorm, and it's beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah. And the interview you did with David was fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a really, really wonderful discussion. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and it made me wanna read it, of course. I mean, I
Yep.
wanted to read it anyway, but then
Mhm.
after I listened to it, I was like, "Yep,
Yep.
definitely on my list."
It was fantastic. Great
Yeah.
book. It was exactly what I wanted and was expecting from his book.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, my last book is I love this book. I love, 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 love this book. And of course, no big surprises here, but of course, it's Adam
Oh, yes.
Schultz's latest book, Vanished Beyond the Map: The Mystery of Lost Explorer Hubert Darrell. And it just came out, I don't know, like mid-October, so it hasn't even been out very long. I was so lucky when you talked about going to do author visits. I got to see Adam front row center. I was.
Wow.
Shout out to our good friend Anne from the Bookkeeper who
Mhm.
said, "Let's do it." So she and her husband and I, we were front row center and got to listen to Adam's latest presentation, and it was fantastic. I just have to say that I don't know that I've ever, and I don't get me wrong, I love all author visits. I love
Mhm.
listening to authors. That's like my number one favorite thing to do, as geeky as it is. But I think he's my favorite because he is so freaking hilarious. You laugh through the whole thing. He does a great slideshow. You get to see polar bears and grizzly bears and muck, what is it? Musk
Muskox?
oxen.
Yeah.
Musk oxen. Yes. Okay. Finally got it right. And then the landscape, because who really is ever going to see that Canadian landscape way up there in the north? Certainly not me. I'm not going
Yep.
up there. So it is astounding, the visually, and it's hilarious and it's informative. And he is a freaking storyteller. And I do think, because I saw him 2 years ago in London, and I loved that presentation as well. But he is really growing, I feel like, as a presenter,
Mhm.
and just as a storyteller, I should say, as a storyteller. So the story here is of an explorer who lived in the early 1900s. I mean, that's when he was most active. And he did the most amazing journeys across the Arctic, and he was forgotten to history. And there's so much, and it's funny too because Adam's presentation, I kept thinking to myself, my gosh, he's giving away the whole story. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then when people started asking him questions afterwards, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Nobody knows about this, 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 and this."
Mhm.
And so there's so much depth to this story. The primary research he did to dig this story out and to find what he could about Hubert Darrell, who was one of the great Canadian Arctic explorers that you all don't know about, that the world doesn't know about. And Adam brings him to life, and he will forever be part of that Arctic exploration history. So that is phenomenal. And one of the best things about him, he really embedded himself with the indigenous peoples in the North. He learned their language. He wore their clothing because he knew that was how you survive in the North. You had to take the wisdom of the people, for crying out loud, who already live there, and then to adapt. And he was just a wanderer. That's really what he was all about. He just wanted to be in the North and live his life there. And he had this pull to go back to his brother's farm in Saskatchewan, and he just couldn't. That just wasn't who he was going to be. I cried in the story. It's so beautiful. I I just it's amazing. And so I have
Yeah.
to say, when I got my book signed by Adam, I told him, I said, every time I read one of your books, I always say, this is my favorite one. And
You
I
do.
said, but this one I do, but this one is really my favorite one because if he hadn't written this book, no one would ever this man would have never been remembered. And what he did, when you read about what he contributed to the communities up there and the RCMP, I mean, it's amazing what he did. And he was just completely forgotten. And now
Mhm.
he's not. And through primary research, Adam uncovers and tries to discover, because he does go missing, and tries to uncover what happened to him. And that's the mystery. And it's
Interesting.
so freaking phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah.
So,
I love that you are front row center. because I'm going to proclaim that you are the number one Adam Schultz fan.
I will say this. I'm his number one American fan. I will claim that one because I have to laugh because it took me so long. The line was so long and I was listening to well, not, I couldn't hear them, but I could see the engagement that
Mm-hmm.
all the fans, and let's face it, probably 98% of them were Canadian fans, talking to him, and you could just see how excited. I mean, he just continues to grow and grow and grow his audience, and he is a best-selling author in Canada, and
Yeah.
I don't think that will ever change. And by the way, I'm actually going to be interviewing him uh, tomorrow, so his podcast will be up soon as well, and I
Yes.
cannot wait to talk to him. I even told him, I said I apologize for all my questions, but I tried really hard to pare them down, but I did the best I could, but I have so many questions. Yeah.
And he's still so young. I don't know his age, but he is not like
Yeah.
he's still so young. So to think about what he's got left to
Uh-huh.
do with his writing career,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah, because
exciting.
he said he's on a pretty tight schedule. Every 2 years there will be a book coming out, and that's I remember when I talked to him last year or 2 years ago now, yeah. He said I think he even had like 3 or 4 books in the pipeline. Like he knew they were coming out every 2 years.
Mhm.
So, I don't know how the heck he does everything that he does.
No.
And yeah, because basically what he does in this book is he tells you the story of Hubert Darrell, and then he goes out and retraces his path to try to find evidence of where his last days were.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's amazing. So
I gotta
anyway,
go. Yeah.
if you love nonfiction, if you love adventure writing, if you love really compelling storytelling, pick up a book. It's going to be the holidays soon. Buy it for whomever is in
Mhm.
your life that you think would love this book because I guarantee you they will love it.
And it's nonfiction November, so also another
That's
great reason.
right.
Pick it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Great point. Yes.
Okay, my last book, as you all know, because I've mentioned several times, that I am reading through the backlist of Helen Humphreys. So,
Yay.
and I haven't brought every book with me because I don't want to bring like a Helen Humphreys book every month because people would get bored. But I have to bring this one because, God, she's amazing. So now I'm going to gush and I'm proclaiming myself the number one Helen Humphreys
Yay.
fan. So this is a book from 2018 and a novel, and it is called Machine Without Horses, which I knew nothing about. I was like, this title is odd. I don't even know what the title means. I'm like, it's so weird. And all I knew, the title, and then below it, it says a novel. So I'm like, okay, it's one of her fictions. I'm going through the list. Let's go. I was not expecting this. So again, a two-part book, and part one is first person, and you're getting the narrator is the person telling is the writer of a story. She's getting ready to write a story based on Megan Boyd. And Megan Boyd is she's Scottish, I believe she's a Scottish woman who became an expert at salmon fly tying
Oh, uh-huh.
in the early 1900s and in the 1900s. So she spent her entire, I think she started at around 14. Her father set her up with the starting to fly ties, tie flies, tie. Sorry, I get that mixed up all the time. Um, and from there, she was like, "This is what I want to do," and she spent almost the rest of her entire life tying salmon flies, such
Yeah.
that she just sat in her cottage in Scotland and orders came in internationally. They would send by mail her orders and she would just stack them up and go through them. She was had a year's waiting list and one of the royal family was one of her regular customers. So
Wow.
this woman
Yeah.
is fascinating. So the first part of this book, you're getting the point of view of the person, the writer, who wants to write a fictionalized story based on Megan Boyd. But as I'm reading this, I'm like, this isn't fiction. I'm like, Helen Humphreys is talking to me right now about how she wants to write the story. And here she is in the morning taking her dogs for a walk. I'm like, what is going on? Am I reading like, did I get this wrong? Am I reading her memoir, like a memoir? And I thought I was reading fiction. No, it's fiction, but Helen Humphreys has snuck herself into this part of the book, into the story. So I love that part of it because I felt like
Yeah.
I was talking with Helen Humphreys, my new bestie.
Yep.
At the same time, she's giving you all the secrets of how secrets, I guess, if you want to write, like how the mental task of getting behind writing a fictionalized story of a real person.
Hmm.
Then we go to part 2, which is the fictionalized story of Megan Boyd's life, who she, I believe, calls Ruth. I think her name is Ruth. And it is beautiful. It's a quiet story. It's Helen Humphreys. It's just beautiful. It's lovely. There's a love story. It's so good.
Well,
Honestly.
so wait, why is it called Machine Without Horses? Is there, I mean, can you give,
Yeah.
or is that a spoiler?
No, I don't think so. So Machine
Oh,
Without Horses is actually a particular type of square dancing, or it's a
oh,
particular dance.
oh, okay.
And Ruth was a very good dancer. And so
Okay.
she would I think Friday night, she would go to the community, would have a dance in the community hall where they all did, I don't know if it was actually square dancing, but it was a very formalized type of dancing where it was like, this song is, we're doing this. And so now we're doing the Machine Without Horses dance. So Ruth was a very good dancer. And there Ruth met a woman, well, at a dance, who became a very good friend,
Yeah.
and they danced.
It makes me realize that this book was meant to come after one of her books that you read that was a fictionalized account of other famous people. Do you remember
Yes,
those?
there was one. Her last one was the Thoreau.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And I
find it.
feel like there was another one
Yes, there was
too.
another one. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, who was the writer? I can't remember. It was set in
Yeah.
Paris, and it was a famous writer and his wife, and the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
who was
yeah.
like his editor or a good friend of his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, this is obviously a theme for her, but I love
Yes.
that you're reading this one now to realize a little bit of the background of how she
Yeah.
fictionalizes a real
It's very
person's.
cool. I'm loving this backlist reading because I've seen how her historical fiction, as this is a historical fiction, has moved from like World War I, World War II stories into fictionalized stories of real historical figures. It's
Are
very
you
cool.
reading them chronologically?
No, I'm just
I
like
didn't think so.
randomly
Yeah.
picking them off a
Yeah.
list, and I'll go to my little bookstore, different drummers here in Burlington, and I'll just order a couple of her books and read them as they come in. But man, she's good. And I love that every story you're not expecting it, sometimes you are, but there's a queer love story,
Mhm.
queer element in every book.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. That's it. That's my last one.
I have to say, everything we talked about today, I just feel like, not that I think there are weak stories necessarily, but these are all just so strong.
Yeah.
All of these titles feel very, very strong to me.
I would be confident recommending any of these books. Like, you know what I mean? Like and be like, you're going to get a good story and good writing.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I totally agree with my list as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And now I kind of forget because it's been so long since we've done this. How we how we wrap it up.
You always say, your thing that you
Oh
always
yeah,
say at the end.
happy
There you go.
reading. Happy reading, everyone. Thank you for joining us and forgive us for any little like blips that were here today. It's been a long time, but it was super fun.
We're
Yeah,
back though.
we're
Yay.
back. Happy reading. Thank you for joining us on our bookish journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing Canada Reads American Style wherever you listen. You can connect with the podcast and Rebecca on Instagram at Canada Reads American Style and with Tara at On a Branch Reads. Until next time, keep reading.